The Boy from Yesterday, Chapter 34, Sleeping Dogs. TJ and Peter did indeed have something planned. They walked from TJ's apartment to Rocket Diner to think, and between times that Trixie was taking their order, delivering their order, and making small talk, they were doing some big talk of their own. Can you believe this? I can't believe we're talking about how to get some guy from 1890 back home through his magic ring. We never even really got a chance to be with him all that long. Maybe we should try to have him stay a while, Peter said. He could have told us about, I don't know, Lincoln and shit. TJ gave him one of those stony looks with a slightly raised eyebrow and paused. Lincoln was long gone by 1890, sweetie. Tom's from 1890, and he looks about our age, so he was probably born well after Lincoln was shot. Well, then how could he tell us about something else? Who knows? I don't know, Queen Victoria. Yeah, about as much as I could. He's from Chesterfield. When did Queen Victoria ever visit Chesterfield? TJ said, his voice rising in its register as Peter's credulity became increasingly strained. But what about what he said? About having to help his sick friend back then? Laurel said he was going to help him, give him some of her grand's medicine or something, penicillin or whatever, and put him back through his time door however he got here to give to his friend, Peter said, back on topic and trying to get them both to focus. What if this friend lives on to invent the cure for cancer or something? TJ gave him the look again. If that guy had invented the cure for cancer, who was our age in 1890, we would have known by about 1920, I think. Peter was undaunted. Okay, well, what if he did something else? If Tom doesn't give him Laurel's grand's leftover medicine and save the 1890 dude, maybe that interrupts the whole time-space continuum, and before you know it, we're being ruled by apes. TJ continued with the look, but then it dawned on him that Peter, despite sounding stupid, did indeed have a point. He stopped giving the look and sat up. Maybe you're right. I'm afraid through all this that he's going to rupture something in the entire existence of time, and I'm going to end up in some kind of plantation again, singing spirituals and getting my ass whooped, TJ said. Not to mention what they do to guys like us. One little thing goes wrong and the whole universe changes. Shit. How many of these guys do you think there are? How do we know Trixie isn't really from Queen Victoria's court? It could be anybody. It could be you, Peter said. Now the look was back. Honey, if I time traveled from anywhere else to here, and I discovered there were planes, cars, trains, and helicopters, I sure as shit wouldn't be in Chesterfield. Peter shrugged. I guess. Okay, so maybe Tom is the only one, assuming there is only one ring. Ugh, that ring, that damned ring. If Laurel and Tom had that, Tom could save his friend, and then there would be no more being ruled by apes. This time, TJ nodded sincerely with no sarcasm. Yeah, we gotta help them. Laurel is beautiful, and girlfriend Tom has gotta be the best that century had to offer, but let's face it, they need our help or they're gonna be spinning their wheels about this. Especially shit for brains. I mean, I tolerated that son of a bitch for a while. He was okay to hang out with, but he always had great weed, Peter said, which interrupted TJ and got him the look again. Be that as it may, TJ continued, undaunted, you have the most access to Mr. Genius, and that means you, or you and I, have to use that to our advantage. He'll be guarding the ring. He won't let it out of his sight. He'll be showering with it, sleeping with it on, Peter said, shaking his head, not seeing the way clear. Wait. That's it, TJ said, looking down and thinking. When does he sleep, usually? Oh, you mean normal, or when he's drunk? Well, both. That's our chance. Come on. TJ pulled his wallet out and quickly tossed a $20 bill on the table for Trixie, then thought and wondered if they owed $20 or more or less, started to take the $20 bill and leave 15, but then got impatient with himself and left the $20, turned and wrapped his arm around Peter as they quickly left Rocket and walked toward Peter's apartment. The simple plan that TJ and Peter hatched almost felt too good to be true. They found Christian passed out on the living room couch in a dark room from the closed curtains and the general escape that Christian had done from the human race. Peter and TJ came in like they were unlocking King Tut's tomb and searching for treasure. Christian didn't even snore. Peter and TJ stood quietly watching him sleep. Then Peter tested Christian. Hey, Peter said in a nonchalant voice, but loud enough so that Christian would have stirred if he were at all awake. No response. Peter took it a little further and walked over to the couch. "Hey, dude, He paused, trying to think of something else to say, and nudging Christian's shoulder a bit. I really need to borrow a few bucks. Is that cool?" Still no answer, not even a murmur. Peter looked around the room, surveying the scene, as TJ was doing the same. Then TJ silently pointed to the coffee table, which was filled with empty beer bottles, an empty tall vodka bottle, and an empty syringe. TJ's eyes widened as he motioned at all the evidence on the table that apparently Christian had used recently, giving Peter a cut sign across his throat. Peter nodded and gently pulled Christian's arm up at the wrist. There it was, ripe for the picking. The shining gold of the ring sat innocently on Christian's finger. The red eye of the dragon was dull and lifeless. Peter looked back one more time silently at TJ, who nodded slowly. Peter took Christian's hand in his one hand and then gently pulled the ring toward Christian's middle knuckle with the other. Peter could feel Christian's hands sweat and clammy as the sweat lubricated the ring up to move through his finger, close to the finger's middle joint. Peter and TJ jumped a second when Christian took a deep breath and started to shift, but then heaved the deep breath out again in a deeper sleep and lied motionless. Peter was frozen with the ring half off Christian's finger. They waited, frozen, to hear a few deep breaths from Christian's nose, then shallower ones. Then Peter pulled the ring the rest of the way off, and Peter stood up, held up the ring, smiled, put it in his pocket, and came over to kiss TJ as TJ gave him a silent thumbs up. They still didn't hear anything down the street as they walked away from the house after closing the doors quietly as they could, half expecting to hear a scream of rage from Christian inside. Peter looked at TJ, both walking fast, not exactly sure to where. "So, now what?" Peter asked. "I'll text Lars. We got it. We gotta hurry. We'll hide out so he can't find us, then rendezvous tonight to get Tom the ring," TJ said, speaking clearly and focused. "But where?" Peter said. "I've got an idea," TJ said, as he rapidly texted Emily and Laurel. "What is it?" Peter said. "Trust me," he said, as he winked at Peter, and then looked in the distance and saw the library tower reach high in the sky ahead.